Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kim Barrett Show. I'm your host, Kim Barrett, and on today's episode, we have an interview with the amazing Mr. Eric Balance. Now, Eric is an online coach helping people to start themselves up when it gets to coming online. He also tells us the story of when he went and did some work with Tony Robbins, which is pretty cool, and really about how he started in the online journey and now how he helps people do that as well. Now, obviously, once you get started online, you've got to amplify what you're doing with some good marketing help. So if you need anything, you can always go and check out our free USB over at www.freeusb.com.au, and you can get all the help you need to get your marketing rolling there. But let's not delay, let's jump into the show with Mr. Eric Balance. Eric, good sir, thank you so much for joining us today, man. Appreciate you making the time to come on.
Blessings, brother. Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure, man. So tell us a little bit about you. Obviously, I've already introduced you a little bit to the audience, but give us a little bit of an insight. Tell us, if you were at a party and someone walked up to you and was like, "Hey, Eric, man, what do you do?" What would be your answer?
So, primarily I've always, started focusing on social media back in the day where it was just health and fitness coaching. And now as I evolved that story and kind of have grown out of the health and fitness coaching, I help coaches themselves, really start to take away or that are focused so much on, spending time with their clients, leverage more of their time. So scale, so have the opportunity to utilize their expertise and take it online so that they can have more of that laptop lifestyle, because that's one thing. Freedom and fulfillment has always been super powerful for me.
Yeah, awesome, man. I love that. And so you obviously have gone through a bit of that journey yourself as well. So tell us a little bit of that story. So obviously you were doing health and fitness coaching, if I'm correct there, and then you've had some transitions. Tell us a little bit of that journey.
Love it. Thank you. Yeah. So, originally I was working at that good old job, did the 9 to 5. So literally my story started over 24 months ago. I was working in the oil field, then I went to sales in selling cars, and I really was unfulfilled and unhappy, and I did so many different things. I went to university in the past. I did everything that like the old school mentality really the traditional way of being successful that so many of us have been brought up with. And I struggled with I just felt I didn't have that fulfillment, that energy of like I wanted more opportunity to see the world. I wanted more opportunity to grow. I wanted to really genuinely connect with the ideology of showing up for myself and people and making more of an impact in a way. So when I started to get into health and fitness, and I was always into health and fitness, that was one thing that was like consistent, never changed. And people were asking me about it. And, people were asking me how I can do that, how I can fulfill, how I can get to those goals, how I can get fitter and better and more healthy. And I was providing, knowledge, and I realized, holy cow, this knowledge is actually so powerful. People are doing it. I saw a friend, starting to crush it online. And that's when I was like, there's something here. Like, this is not going anywhere. In fact, this is, taking us, it's going to give us so much opportunity if we take that knowledge and amplify it to the public and, help people get results, no matter where you are in the world. So it was awesome to be able to fine tune that process in health and fitness. And then as I continued to evolve that, it gave me, people were wondering, they're curious, like, holy cow, how are you doing this? How are you, online, because that mentality is like trading time for money, right? And everybody was so focused on trading time for money where they forgot, it's not necessarily the way that we want to, move forward. And for me, it's been, how do I help people understand that that's not what needs to happen? It's how can we actually, utilize, work less and have more freedom, right?
So you were like, let's kind of timeline that a little bit. You're working in the oil fields, and obviously we can probably detect a little bit of an accent there. Was that in Canada, or whereabouts were you doing the oil? Yeah,
it was in Canada. So I worked in Fort McMurray, up north, very cold, like -40.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. So you went there and then you went into cars and then you were obviously getting yourself fit and then obviously well, amplifying your health and fitness. And then you started teaching people how to do that. So your first online, would you say foray, that was teaching people health and fitness online?
That's it. Yeah, that's all I focused on is just health and fitness. So I focused on one offer, one opportunity, one like focal point, and I made myself an expert in one niche, right?
Awesome. I love that. And anyone that knows me will know that I am huge on niching. That's one of the most important things I drill into people all the time. So it's good to hear. Now, at what point did that transition to full-time? Did you just commit and it happened? Or was it like a little bit of a transition period amongst everything else that was happening?
Yeah, 100%. There was a transition period. So when I was working in the oil field, in between all of that, actually, I ended up, kind of missing the boat where like my ex-wife and I, we fell apart just because like two different areas. And it was just like, she was a great woman. She still is, just, went separate ways. And what ended up happening was there was just so much, possibilities with regards to stepping into the online space, but I was still so uncertain, right? I was scared. So I was working like 12 hours a day in the oil field and, waking up in the morning, going to the gym and then hustling at night, doing my best to really fulfill and grow at a level that I wanted to make happen. So I was just hustling. I was like working out, working online, right? So I was doing whatever it took. And that was like a 3-month kind of transition. And after 3 months, I was able to actually completely step away from my oil field job, which was paying really well, by the way. I was making like a good 10K a month, and my like part-time side hustle from the online space gave me the opportunity to really build upon that, and then I was able to take that over.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And now tell us, because you share about it a little bit, but where does Tony Robbins insert into this field of play? Because I know you're a Tony Robbins Platinum partner. You seem to be at nearly every event he's got, right, all over the world. You were in Amsterdam not long ago with him and whatnot too. So tell me a little bit, like, where did he come into play? Because I know for a lot of people, when it comes to personal development, he is kind of a big catalyst. So where did that come in for you in and amongst all of that?
So this is really important, and it's funny that you actually asked me this, because I think what I'd love to specify here is understanding that as I continued to grow myself and really gave a better understanding of how I was working, because I was struggling. So I was struggling with regards to teamwork. And for me, that was I love that you asked this question, because, in business, I understood that I needed to scale. So I got an amazing mentor that helped me step up and like really get out of my own way. And for me, it was the team that I couldn't understand how I could like scale and start growing to a level that was going to give me more financial freedom, more success, more like ownership on the business rather than in the business. And what happened was I started being an asshole to people. I was not like friendly. I was not good. And I understood that there was something wrong there, and like at a like an internal level. And I didn't know how to properly lead people. Right. So what happened was I went to a Tony Robbins event in Edmonton back home, and it was just like this half-day thing. It's not like a full event. And it ended up happening that he ended up kind of pulling me up and giving me a big freaking massive hug in front of everybody. And I was pretty well known in the city, but like that was just like, it was just, I didn't even like comprehend what happened. And something happened where like an energy just transferred for me. And it was like a sense of love, of deep gratitude, of deep appreciation. And like what he had said inside of a lot of those, is the meaning of living is giving. And, something that really resonated with me. And I ended up going on this beautiful kind of self-discovery journey to Costa Rica. And I did a lot of like just soul searching of how can I be a better human being and also a leader at the same time. And when I decided, I was going to, go to Tony Robbins' UPW program in London of last year, he shared with me it was just a massive transformation, because I was like, I'm all like super big energy, but like I was going all out, right? Like at this event. And I remember having connection with Tony, like at that Edmonton. So I walked up to him and I said, "Hey Tony, what's up?" And I'm like, "Do you remember me?" And I'm thinking like, this guy doesn't remember me. There's no way that this guy remembers me. And he's like, "Edmonton." And he just looked at me, Edmonton. And the following day, I got moved to the front row, spending time with all the platinum partners, right in like Tony Robbins like chairman area. Like, so it was like, and I was there and I was going at it, and I was around some of the most profound people with the most profound like knowledge, and like I recognized one thing. I went into this intentional experience with Tony, and I went in there with like the intention to like really level up and wanting to do whatever's necessary. And I'm like, universe, give me show me the way. Like, I don't know how. There's always these amazing entrepreneurs, and what are they doing that's so different that I can't be figuring out right now? So I'm all around all these people and all these, I'm literally like in front of all these amazing entrepreneurs, getting to know some of the most unique people and some of the most famous people around the planet. And as I continue to, rah, 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 go, 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 everyone, all the plats are like, "Eric, like you'd be such a good plat." Like, like, yeah, this would be awesome. How much does it cost? And they tell me the price, $85 US. I said, "See you later, get bent, I'm out of here. It's not happening." and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, hold on a second, right? Like, I'm asking to come to this, asking the universe to show me a sign, and maybe this is the sign. This might be the sign that allows me to kind of be the catalyst of my growth. And, spending time with Tony's brother-in-law, Scott, he assured me of like all these amazing things, and he was so loving and compassionate. And everybody was like, it's that type of, environment, and all the emotion is there, and you're understanding, getting from pain to pleasure, they're taking you through the process. And, I really thought it over, and I said, there was a moment I was about to step back, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, what am I thinking? My brain is telling me like you're a moron. And my heart is saying like, you got this. Like, you're going to crush this. You're going to do this. So I said, fuck it. Let's do it. And it was the best thing that I've done in my life, because I'm telling you, the people that have changed around me, like the people that I've been able to connect with, the level of community that I've got to know, and the game of life that they're playing is just, it's bar none. It's bar none. And I've never experienced, and it really is, it's like that, those 4 levels of competence, right? The reticulator activating system, right? Focusing on the, the unconscious incompetence, or, like you don't know what you don't know, right? And yeah, I was just so fascinated to what was possible, and still growing, right? Still don't know tons, right?
Yeah, I love that. And so you've been then working in that community for what, about a year?
Yeah, about a year now. So it'll be in March, it'll be a year.
Awesome. I love that, man. And one of the big things, I think, because a lot of people will hear that, and they'll hear that figure, and they'll be like, how, like, and I think sometimes when people justify in their heads, obviously you work with coaches and you help them and they invest to work with you, and as do people invest to work with me. Sometimes they hear those figures and they're like, how is that? Like, how do you justify that? Like, what do you get for that? Because it sounds like such a tremendous expense, which obviously it is, was more of an investment than an expense. But like, what do you think has been, after doing that, and if you can share, if you can't, that's cool as well, but like financially and with connections and things like that, how well do you think what was the return on investment for that?
So I can assure you that the return on investment happened in the first 2 months.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was like the money side was a non, like it didn't even matter. But what really came back is the level of integrity of people that now that I work with. So, if I approach a platinum partner and I ask him for help, and because, or even an ex-plat partner, that's not a plat anymore, but they're still part of the community, there's a whole new level of trust there. So if I approach them with any kind of opportunity or vice versa, we know that we can count on each other, and we're going to do everything to get one another results. And that to me is so profound, because now I know that I have a community that I can rely on, I can count on. And the community is a huge thing. But more importantly too, is the proximity of these elevated individuals. So now, there's tons of people, so Tony has like 30 or 40 platinum lions. So that's like a step above the plats. And they're game changers in society, right? Like they're doing huge things, like multi-million, billion-dollar industries. And, to be able to have like a first name friendship with some of these huge players, priceless, man. Because I know as I continue to grow, these guys have my back forever. No matter whether I'm a plat for the next 10 years, or if I'm a plat just for this year, or if I'm a plat for the next 5, they will always be like, Eric, what can I do? How can I help? What can I do to support? And I got these minds that I can think and ask questions to, or bring value to, and ask for support. And they will always be there. So I just launched my, my own podcast too. And like a couple days ago, and I had, Eli, one of Tony's top sales strategists for 15 years on the podcast. Like things like that is just, you get to be able to have an opportunity to connect with such elevated individuals that can actually bring more value to our communities, like to our friendships, to the people that we want to help, right? You know what I mean? So it's all about give and take, and they're all about, I would say, primarily about giving, which is really cool.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's the most important thing, because obviously when anyone makes an investment, whether it's for your personal life or your business life, the logical side of your brain is going to be like, is it going to be justifiable? And obviously, as you said, the return happens, that's not a problem, but you get that lifelong return, which is the relationships that you build and things like that. But in my eyes, what I would probably say as well is, from what you've shared there, for a takeaway for anyone listening, is that actually will only happen though if you take action upon things. Because people could very easily sign up and invest that money, not go to the events, not take action on the information that they get. And probably at that level, that's probably a lot lower. But I know for myself, and you'd probably find as well, that sometimes when people invest in a program, invest in mentorship, they do it and they have the best intentions of doing it, but then they just don't take the action, and then they wonder why they don't get the results. So for me, obviously, it's great to hear that is still and will pay off for you for probably the rest of your life, right? But as well, it's the fact that you took the action, because most people won't, or they'll take action for what they think they should do, rather than, it's like, if someone gives you a list of 1, 2, 3, don't just do 3 or 2, do 1, do 2, do 3, like follow the yellow brick road, right?
100%. And there's an outline, for a reason, right? And it's like, obviously it's cool to, hear all the strategies over and over again from Tony himself, go be able to like give him hugs and talk with him, for, here and there in the back. But the thing is like, I believe, the reason Tony built that community is really to just bring some of the most amazing individuals together, and so that they can learn from one another. Because you're absolutely right. In any program, whether it's your program, my program, Tony's program, doesn't matter. You want to have so much intent. The intent needs to be there, absolutely, to take action, but you still have to give it all you got. So you won't get results if you don't put in the work, right? Like, every day there's still, peaks and valleys, that I'm sure that you go through, or I go through, or, Tony, anybody goes through, but we got to like keep just pushing through and pushing forward. So if there's difficulties in a program, that somebody's taking, there's so much, it's all on you type of thing. Like, you got to be the person that's willing to put in the hours. It's energy in, energy out type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love that. Now, I've got one final question for you that I always love to ask, and I heard it on a podcast, and I'll have to remember. I think it was one of my buddies, AJ Mirzad. I can't remember who asked me it, but it's a great question. And the question is, what's one question that I didn't ask you that I should have?
Wow, that's a good question. One question that you didn't ask me that you should have. That's a really good, that's a stumper.
Yeah.
So I think what's important here too is, like, obviously we come from the same space. We really believe, what we want to what we believe in, what's possible in the online capacity. And I think that when we talk about what's possible, I think that we should start focusing on everything's possible. So I guess the question I would say is like, how do we start really growing and developing and utilizing what do we see happening in the next decade with the online space, and how people can really change their impact online. I think that we're in the same boat, right? We both want to make huge change. Like you're absolutely crushing it. You're doing amazing things, and it's amazing to watch, right? And I think a lot of people, if they're paying attention to this, they need to follow in your footsteps, right? If there's anything that they can do to learn from you, they need to take that action. And you know what I mean? So I'm always all about learning and growing.
I love that, man. So what would be what do you see then, if I am to flip that and ask you that exact question then, what's one thing that you see changing over the next, we're in the 20s now, so in the next decade, what do you think is one thing, if someone's considering going online or they've just started online, what would be your one little tidbit for them?
Honestly, if you're considering going online, just do it. Just hustle and do it. Ask for help though. Don't do it without help. Get somebody that has been through the steps and will help you get there at an accelerated rate, because the online world is like this. It's so quick. And if you have the right guidance, the yellow brick road, like you said, you can get there in no time. So I'm telling you, guidance is key. Immersion, full immersion. That's what Tony says. Full immersion. Get right in there. Get a coach and a mentor and immerse yourself, because it's gonna help you immensely. Just like I believe, and I know you believe. Coaching will get us so much further than ever doing it or figuring it out alone.
Yeah, that's so perfect, man. I love that. And now for everyone that's listening, what's the best place for them to connect with you? Where's the best place for them to find out more about you?
Yeah, bro. So I'm on Instagram at Eric Balance. Facebook, Eric Balance. And then you can check me out, ericbalance.com. So simple, easy, Eric Balance.
Easy, guys. And we'll chuck all those in the show notes. So anyone wants to check out Eric, go connect with him. As an amazing guy, great to have a good conversation with him. And I expect to see some big things from him coming up in the next couple of months too, which is going to be exciting. So Eric, thank you again for joining us today, my man. I really appreciate it.
Blessings, dude. I'm very honored to be on here, and thank you, Kim. You're a gem, and much love to you.
My pleasure, my man.